Some stories don't begin with love. They begin with a welcome to Empire Line Stories TV, the home for Afro Korean storytelling lovers. If you want more Afro Korean heirs, billionaire families, and dangerous secrets, show some love on this first episode. Kindly like the video. Hit the subscribe button. Only real fans make it to the next episode. You're part of the lineage now, no turning back. The fracture. Cold wind slices across the marble steps of Kim Corporation as camera shutters explode like gunfire. Dami stumbles forward, hands shaking, breath unsteady, vision blurring under the blinding flashes. Reporters close in from every direction, a pack of wolves sensing blood. Mississippi Park, did you steal the funds? Why did you fake the DNA test? Is it true there's another woman claiming to be his daughter? That last question hits her like a physical blow. Another daughter? She never told anyone about the test. How do they know? Who leaked it? She tries to speak, but her voice collapses in her throat. The words die before they can form. Then a voice cuts through the chaos, smooth, cold, precise. A blade pressed against skin. She never belonged here anyway. Dami turns slowly, as if the world is moving through water. Young Min stands at the top of the stairs. Perfect posture. Perfect stillness. Perfect cruelty. Not a wrinkle on his suit. Not a flicker of emotion on his face. Their eyes lock across the distance. And in that moment, she understands the terrible truth. This isn't a scandal. This isn't misfortune. This is choreography. Every step she took, he placed a trap there. Every door she opened, he rigged to collapse. Every person she trusted, he had already turned against her. The world tilts. The noise collapses into a single ringing tone. Her knees buckle. Darkness sweeps her under like a wave, pulling her into the deep. The last thing she sees is young Min's smile. 3 months earlier, before the world judged her, Dami was just a girl trying to outrun life. The heat in Lagos pressed down like a heavy blanket soaked in sunlight. Engines growled around her in the mechanic shop. Metal clanged. Oil dripped. And Dami wiped sweat from her brow, pretending her hands weren't shaking from exhaustion. She'd been under this Honda for 3 hours. Her back ached. Her fingers were black with grease. But the work kept her mind quiet, kept the questions away. Questions about the father she never knew. Why her mother never spoke of him. Why she looked so different from everyone around her. Her phone buzzed once. Then twice. Then again. She ignored it. Customers didn't want mechanics pausing to check their phones. But the buzzing kept coming 4 times 5, 6. Her boss crawled out from under the car, frustration thick in his voice. Dami, your phone. Answer it or throw it out. She pulled it out with greasy fingers. 12 missed calls. All from the same number. Lagos General Hospital. The world sharpened. Everything else, the heat, the shop, the noise faded into background static. She ran. Through crowded streets where vendors shouted over one another. Past women balancing buckets on their heads. Past okadas weaving recklessly through lanes. Past drivers honking at anything that moved. Every step felt like a countdown to something she feared but couldn't name. The hospital smelled too clean, as if it was trying to bleach the truth out of the air. The fluorescent lights buzzed. Her shoes squeaked on the linoleum. Room 304. Her mother lay still. Too still. Skin cool. Breath wispy and fragile. Mama. Her mother's eyes fluttered open. Relief washed across her face, mixed with regret. Dami, she whispered. Sit. Please. Dami grabbed her mother's cold hand. Her mother reached beneath the pillow with trembling fingers and pulled out 2 envelopes. Yellow with age. Sealed with cracked wax. Heavy with secrets that had waited 25 years. She pressed them into Dami's hands, one after the other. This one is for him, she whispered. Your father. Kim Ji-ho. He's in Seoul now. A powerful man. I should have told him. I should have. A cough cut through her sentence. Mama, don't talk. No. Listen. There isn't time. She tapped the second envelope. And this one is for someone who will try to stop you. Dami froze. Stop me? From what? Her mother's eyes filled with tears. From claiming what's yours. From being recognized. There are people in that family who do not want you found, Dami. People with too much to lose if you exist. A chill slid down Dami's spine. Her mother forced herself to keep speaking. In the first envelope, there's a photograph of your father. That's who he was when I knew him. I don't know who he is now. Dami pulled out the photo. A young Korean man stood in front of a Lagos market. Warm smile. Kind eyes. A man she never knew but suddenly recognized. And the other envelope, she whispered. Her mother's expression darkened. A letter I never sent. To his wife. A warning. A confession. A plea. She had been too proud. Too scared. Too alone. She clutched Dami's hand again. Promise me you'll find him. Promise me you'll know where you come from. But promise me something else. What is it, Mama? Don't trust everyone who smiles at you. That world eats people like us. I promise, Dami whispered. Her mother smiled, a soft, bittersweet goodbye. You're so strong. Stronger than I ever was. Her hand went limp. The room erupted into chaos, nurses, doctors, shouting, pushing. But all Dami saw was her mother's face. Still. Peaceful. Gone. Just before she left the room, something strange happened. A nurse, a Yoruba woman in her 50s, paused at the door. She glanced at Dami with sympathy. But outside in the hallway, she pulled out her phone and whispered something in Korean. Perfect Korean. The nurse looked back at Dami, startled to find her watching, and quickly ended the call. She smiled. Too quickly. Then walked away. Dami clutched the envelopes tightly. Who had the nurse been speaking to? And why did it feel like someone already knew she existed? The funeral was small. A handful of neighbors. A few church members. Dami's boss, who brought flowers he couldn't afford. People cried and prayed, but she felt numb, hollow, as if grief had carved her out from the inside. That night, in the tiny apartment she once shared with her mother, she sat on the floor surrounded by old dresses, worn shoes, and a jewelry box with 3 pieces inside. Nothing expensive. Everything precious. And the envelopes. She opened the first one again, the one meant for her father. The photograph stared back at her. A man she had never met, but who looked like a missing piece of her face. Then she opened the second envelope. The warning letter. Her mother's handwriting was careful, almost too careful, as if every word had been weighed 1,000 times before being written down. I do not ask for anything. I do not want anything. But understand this, if anything should happen to me, there is a girl in Lagos who carries your husband's blood. Her name is Dami. Dami read the letter twice. 3 times. Her mother had known the danger. She'd known some people in that family would see Dami as an inconvenience. A mistake. A threat. Dami folded the letter carefully. The air in the room felt colder. She had 2 choices. Burn the envelopes. Disappear into anonymity and safety. Or get on a plane and walk into a world her mother feared. She looked at the photograph again. I promised you, she whispered into the empty room. I promised I'd find him. 3 days later, she mailed the letter to Kim Corporation in Seoul. And she waited. Weeks passed with heavy silence. Engines to fix. Bills to pay. A life that pulled her forward even though her heart was stuck in the past. Then one afternoon, while she wiped grease from her palms, her phone rang. A number from South Korea. She almost didn't answer. Almost let the call fade into a missed opportunity. But she lifted the phone to her ear. Hello. Mississippi Park, a calm voice replied. This is Attorney Lee from Kim Corporation. We received your letter. And after reviewing the evidence, we believe your claim is valid. Dami's breath caught. The world blurred at the edges. She held the workbench to stay upright. The lawyer continued. Your father wishes to meet you. A flight has been arranged. You'll leave for Seoul this week. In the background, someone else spoke quickly in Korean. A man's voice. Sharp. Urgent. She couldn't make out the words, but the tone was unmistakable. Disagreement. Attorney Lee lowered his voice. When you arrive, please be careful. Dami swallowed hard. What does that mean? Powerful families protect their interests, he said softly. And not everyone welcomes new information. The line went quiet. Then he added, barely above a whisper. Do not trust everyone who smiles at you. The call ended. Dami stood frozen in place, the phone still pressed to her ear. Her mother's warning echoed inside her like a prophecy she could no longer outrun. That world eats people like us. The flight to Seoul felt endless. She didn't sleep. She barely blinked. She watched clouds drift beneath her like they carried the weight of her past on their backs. When the plane descended over the glittering city, her breath caught. Seoul looked unreal. Towering glass buildings, neon veins of light, streets carved with precision and discipline. This wasn't Lagos. This wasn't chaos. This was a machine made of order and ambition. The cold hit her instantly at the airport exit. She wrapped her jacket tighter around her, watching crowds move with quiet efficiency. A driver holding a sign with her full name stepped forward. His eyes lingered on her longer than they needed to. Not unkind, but curious. Confused. Judging. Mississippi Park. I'll take you to him. The car was too quiet. Too clean. Too soft. As they drove, skyscrapers rose around her like steel mountains. Billboards flashed in a language she didn't know. People moved in silence, their faces unreadable. Then the car stopped. Kim Corporation. The building was a monument of glass and steel, tall enough to scrape the belly of the clouds. She followed the driver through polished marble floors and mirrored elevators until they reached the 40th floor. Her heartbeat thundered in her ears. The doors opened. He was there. Her father. Kim Ji-ho. He stood by the window overlooking the city, a man in his 50s with silver hair and eyes that carried years of exhaustion and regret. He turned. Their eyes met, and his face broke open. He stepped forward, then froze. Then, in a moment that shattered every expectation she had built, he sank to his knees. Tears fell freely down his face. I searched for you, he whispered, his voice trembling. I searched for years. I thought she took you from me. I tried to find you, Dami. I tried. Her throat tightened. Nothing about this was what she imagined. She knelt with him. She didn't tell me, she said softly. Not until the end. He grabbed her hands, desperate, shaking. You're my daughter, he breathed. My child. My blood. And I will spend the rest of my life making up for the years I missed. He pulled her into an embrace that felt like a lifetime collapsing into a single moment. And for the first time, she let herself believe it. She wasn't alone anymore. That night, her father brought her home. A mansion in Gangnam. A world built on money, reputation, and old power. Everyone, he declared proudly, this is my daughter. Silence filled the dining room. 3 faces. 3 reactions. Young Min. A polished smile that didn't touch his eyes. A handshake that barely lasted a second. A look that stripped her down to threat level. Sujin. A tight smile hiding resentment. Fear lingering behind her perfect posture. A daughter who felt replaced. Madame Mincio. A gentle nod. A voice dripping with politeness. Eyes cold enough to freeze air. Dinner was awkward. Tense. Strained. Then her father wiped his mouth with a cloth and said the words that caught the room on fire. Dami will be joining the company. Silence. Then the subtle crack of a world shifting. Young Min blinked. Slowly. Measuring the threat. Of course, he said softly. Welcome, sister. But the warmth was fake. The acceptance was poison. She felt it instantly. She wasn't welcome. The first days inside Kim Corporation felt like walking
what
through
no
a
one
glass
noticed,
maze.
no one except
Beautiful
young men,
from the outside
was the security
sharp
camera
and
in the
unforgiving
corner.
on the inside.
It wasn't pointed at the
People
room.
stared.
It was
Whispered
pointed
directly at Dami.
Stepped aside without
recording
stepping
her.
aside.
Studying
Too dark.
her. Calculating
Too curvy.
her.
Too
He was
foreign.
already planning
Can
the
she
next
even
step.
speak Korean?
Every voice chipped away at something inside her. Her office was barely a room, more like a closet polished to look respectable. Her assignments were meaningless. Her presence was tolerated, not welcomed. But one person stood beside her. Minjun. Quiet. Sharp. The only one who didn't treat her like a rumor. You're being tested, he said one afternoon. They want to see if you break. Don't give them the satisfaction. His confidence steadied her. For the first time since Seoul swallowed her whole, she felt seen. Then the DNA test arrived. 99.9%. Her father framed it with pride. Staff congratulated her. Even Sujin softened, just slightly. But 3 days later, Young Min made a request. A second test, he said smoothly. For accuracy. Accuracy. That was the word he chose. When the result came back, everything shattered. Inconclusive. The whispers returned. Louder. Sharper. Crueler. Blogs erupted with theories. Forums dissected her face, her skin, her nose, her hair, as if those things invalidated blood. Her father grew quiet. Not distant, just overwhelmed. Uncertain. Afraid of choosing wrong. Dami felt the ground shift beneath her. And Young Min watched from the shadows, waiting. Then came the theft. A priceless jade sculpture, missing from the executive gallery. Within an hour, edited footage appeared online. A figure. Her height. Her stride. Her coat. A coat she hadn't seen in weeks. The boardroom was a battlefield. Her father's voice trembled as he asked the question she feared most. Dami, be honest. Did you take it? She felt the breath leave her body. No, I didn't. But the evidence was manufactured. The judgment was immediate. And the racism wasn't subtle anymore. She's African. This is cultural. They see ownership differently. The words sliced clean through her. Suspension. Escort. Security guiding her out like a criminal. Reporters swarmed the entrance. Flashbulbs exploded like lightning. Voices barked accusations she couldn't answer. Her hands shook. Her breath broke. Her chest tightened. And from the 40th floor window, Young Min watched her walk down the steps. A faint smile on his lips. The plan was working. Her apartment felt too small that night. Too quiet. Too hollow. She sat on the floor with her mother's photograph pressed to her chest, as if the memory could hold her together. Her phone buzzed endlessly. News alerts. Threats. Insults. Strangers tearing her apart as if she were a public toy. Her body shook with grief so heavy she could barely breathe. Hours passed like shadows. Then someone knocked. Soft. Rhythmic. Persistent. She ignored it. She couldn't handle more pain. But the knocking didn't stop. When she finally opened the door, Minjun stood there. Exhausted. Determined. Holding a tablet like it carried the truth. Dami, he said quietly. Wait. Pause for 1 second. If you're feeling even half of what Dami is going through right now, hit that like button so this story reaches more people who understand what survival looks like. I found something. He stepped inside and placed the tablet in her hands. Text messages. Dozens. Screenshots. Payments. Payments. Instructions. Switch the DNA samples. Make the results inconclusive. She won't know what hit her. Her heart hammered against her ribs. Minjun swiped to the next screen. The real security footage. Not the edited clip circulating online. Young Min. Wearing her stolen coat. Walking into the gallery. Taking the sculpture. Planting it near her office. The timestamps aligned perfectly. Her throat tightened. Why? She whispered. Minjun answered with a quiet rage that shook through his voice. Because you exist. Because you break a system designed for men like him. Because you were never supposed to be found. Dami felt something inside her shift. Harden. Sharpen. She wasn't confused anymore. She wasn't scared of shadows. This wasn't an accident. This was war. What do we do? She asked. We expose him, Minjun said. With evidence he can't bury. She didn't sleep for the next 2 nights. She worked. She gathered documents. Matched timestamps. Contacted witnesses. Collected digital signatures. Everything. Every piece of proof. Brick by brick. And she wasn't alone. Women in the company, overlooked for years, stepped out of the shadows. One by one. They told her stories they'd been too afraid to voice. Stories of dismissal. Silencing. Manipulation. Exclusion. And Dami listened. Really listened. For the first time since arriving in Seoul, she didn't feel like an outsider. She felt like a catalyst. A spark. A beginning. Thursday morning arrived like a storm about to break. The boardroom filled. Men in suits. Women in silence. Young men seated with perfect confidence. He expected her to beg. To cry. To crumble. But when the doors opened, Dami walked in. Steady. Calm. Unbroken. Minjun followed. Then 5 senior women the company never invited into these rooms. Young Min's smile froze. Dami, he said slowly, who are these people? Her voice was steady. Witnesses. She placed the tablet on the table. Pressed play. The room erupted. Gasps. Voices shouting over each other. Chairs scraping against the floor. Her father stood slowly. His face drained of color. Young Min, he whispered. Tell me this isn't real. But the truth was undeniable. Young Min's mask cracked. He pushed to his feet, eyes blazing with entitlement and rage. I did it for us, he snapped. She doesn't belong here. She's not one of us. She's. But his father silenced him with a single raised hand. She is my daughter, he said. And you tried to destroy her. The vote was immediate. Suspension. Investigation. Consequences he never imagined. The walls of his empire crumbled around him. And he walked out of that room with his head low for the first time in his life. The truth didn't just expose like a battlefield cooling it cracked after open Kim Corporation. Executives slip out dynasty
quietly.
Built on
No
silence
one meets Dami's
and legacy. No one
Now
dares to
forced to
speak Young Min's
confront the
name.
one thing it feared
The dynasty
most.
cracked.
Change.
Everyone felt it. Dami stands at the window, soul glittering beneath her like a city carved out of cold ambition. Yet she feels none of it. No victory. No triumph. Just wait. Her father approaches slowly. Eyes tired, shame clinging to his voice. I should have believed you, he says. I should have protected you. Instead, I let this happen. She turns toward him, her voice steady. We start from here, Appa. Not with what we lost, but with what we can build. For a moment, there is peace. But peace never stays. Attorney Lee bursts into the room. Sir, you need to see this. He holds up his phone. A live stream. Young Min stands inside a dim parking structure. Half his face swallowed by shadow. A single fluorescent bulb flickering above him like a dying heartbeat. He speaks quietly. Too quietly. Truth doesn't end when someone gets exposed. Sometimes, exposing a lie only reveals a deeper one. Then he ends the stream. Removes the SIM card. Drops it down a drain. And vanishes. He isn't running. He's repositioning. And that is far more dangerous. Minjun enters, face tight. He lays out security footage. Young Min withdrawing cash in small amounts. Meeting a man in a white van. Buying notebooks, cheap phones, duct tape. Avoiding cameras with unnatural precision. Minjun's voice drops. This isn't a breakdown. This is planning. A slow, cold truth settles inside Dami. He isn't finished with her. Later that evening, Kim Jiho moves too quickly. Not a dramatic fall. Not a heart attack. Just a hand gripping the table. A breath that shortens. A man suddenly too tired to stand. Doctors order weeks of rest. But before they take him away, he squeezes Dami's hand. Don't let our family implode because you found the truth, he whispers. But don't lose yourself trying to protect us either. The words settle like a prophecy she never asked for. The next morning, Dami walks into her office. Sujin is already there. No makeup. No armor. Just swollen eyes and trembling fingers. She sits without a word. I never hated you, she says quietly. I just didn't know where I fit after you arrived. She slides a folder across the desk. Emails. Encrypted messages. Financial transfers. All tied to one name. Madame Mincio. A contract for reputation protection. Signed months before Dami ever arrived in Seoul. Blueprints of sabotage. Sujin's voice cracks. I didn't know how far she intended to go. I didn't know it was this deep. Dami doesn't shout. Doesn't accuse. She simply nods once. Thank you. Not forgiveness. Not friendship. But the beginning of something new. A bridge rebuilt from ashes. That evening, Dami boards a flight home. She expects peace. Breathing room. Distance. Instead, Lagos greets her with warm air. And a new danger already waiting. The first night back, her phone buzzes. An unknown number. A message. This isn't over. Attached. A photo of young Min. Standing outside Murtala Muhammad International Airport. Hands in his pockets. Expression unreadable. He is in Lagos. Her chest tightens. Not from fear, but from clarity. She sends the photo to Minjun, Sujin, and the network of women who supported her. Responses flood in. He won't get close. Security is on the way. We're watching. But Lagos is unpredictable. Vast. Chaotic. Alive. A perfect place to disappear. And a perfect place to hunt. The next morning, Dami tries to act normal. Meetings, mentorship classes, workshop sessions. But the city feels wrong. Too still. Too watchful. Then, another message. Did you miss me? She deletes it. But an hour later, one of her students runs toward her holding a sealed envelope. Someone dropped this at the front desk. Inside, a photo of the foundation entrance. Taken minutes earlier. No attacker in sight. Just presence. He is close. Thousands of miles away, Jiho hears whispers inside Kim Corporation. His son never boarded the flight to Jeju. His son bought supplies. His son disappeared. A truth curls around his heart. He created the man now shadowing Dami across another continent. If anything happens to her, he will never recover. Night falls in Lagos. Warm lights, street vendors closing shop, motorcycles humming. Dami exits the foundation with 2 guards. Her guard lifts a hand. Ma'am, wait. A motorcycle sits across the street. Rider still. Too still. The helmet turns toward her. Her heartbeat sharpens. Even without seeing his face, she knows. The engine roars. The motorcycle speeds into the night. No attack. No words. Just a message. I'm watching. The next day, rumors spread. A man paying in dollars. A stranger in a Kiki Napep. Someone speaking terrible Yoruba with a Korean accent. Young Min is adapting. Studying the city. Learning its pulse. A predator learning new terrain. Sujin calls. Her voice low. Uneasy. He doesn't stop until he wins, she whispers. And I think he believes he can win in Lagos. Why Lagos? Dami asks. A long silence. Because he thinks you don't belong anywhere. The words hit like ice. Then Sujin says 4 unexpected ones. Let me come help. There's no hesitation in Dami's reply. Come. Late afternoon clouds gather over Lagos. Dami steps into the parking lot. Footsteps echo behind her. Slow. Deliberate. She turns. Young Min stands a few meters away. No disguise. No mask. Just obsession carved into bone. You look stronger, he says softly. You shouldn't be here. He steps closer. Home is where you win. And I lost in Seoul. His eyes darken. So I came here to take it back. You lost because of who you are, she replies. Something snaps behind his eyes. A fracture too deep to mend. You took everything. I took nothing, she whispers. I built what you tried to destroy. Guards rush forward. Young Min lifts his hands, stepping back. No need for violence. Not yet. He smiles. Slow, chilling. This is just the beginning. He disappears into the Lagos crowd. Dami stands firm. Not shaking. Not spiraling. Not collapsing. She breathes once. Study controlled. Then she turns to her guards. We increase security and alert Minjun the moment he lands. This is no longer Seoul's battle. This is Lagos. Her territory. Her ground. Her world. And she is no longer the girl they tried to break. She is the woman they should have feared. Dami doesn't return home that night. She doesn't sleep. She barely sits. She stands in the center of the foundation's office long after everyone has left, staring at the photo of young Min taken near the airport. She studies it like a map. A warning. A declaration. He chose Lagos. He chose her city. Her ground. Which means he thinks he can win here. He thinks she is alone. He thinks wrong. The next morning, she walks into the foundation to find something unexpected. Women are waiting for her. Mentors. Students. Volunteers. Staff. Not panicked. Not afraid. Present. One of them speaks first. We heard something is happening. If someone is coming for you, we stand with you. Another steps forward. You stood for us. Now we stand for you. The room fills with a quiet strength. Not loud, not dramatic, but unbreakable. For the first time since stepping into this war, Dami feels grounded, rooted, held. Lagos doesn't let its daughters fight alone. Late afternoon. Heat rising off the pavement. Cars blurring past like restless animals. A black SUV pulls into the compound. Minjun steps out. Tired. Jet-lagged. Focused. He walks straight to her. You shouldn't be handling this alone, he says. I'm not alone, she replies softly. He looks around at the women working behind her. Coding, negotiating, repairing machines, training. A different kind of army. Minjun exhales, something easing in his shoulders. Good, he murmurs. Because what I'm about to tell you, it's worse than we thought. They sit inside her office, blinds drawn. Minjun places his tablet on the desk. There have been data breaches, he says quietly. Emails. Donor records. Building access logs. All targeted. All precise. But then he swipes to the next screen. Maps. Pins. Patterns. Somebody is guiding him. He isn't improvising. He's following a plan. Dami's pulse tightens. Someone from Seoul? Someone with inside access, Minjun replies. And not low-level access. He looks at her, his eyes heavy with something dark. Someone who knew every part of your life before you even came here. The implication lands like a blow. Her stepmother. Madame Mincio. A woman who built her entire life around control. A woman who thrives in shadows. A woman with reasons far deeper than jealousy. Jiho lies in a hospital bed, heart monitor blinking softly beside him. He looks smaller than he did in the boardroom. Older. Less invincible. Attorney Lee sits beside him, whispering updates. But the room grows silent when Sujin walks in with a printout. Her voice is low. Mother disappeared. Jiho turns slowly, eyes clouded. She hasn't been home. She left the country the day after. Everything. Do you know where she went? He asks. Sujin tightens her grip on the document. She nods once. Lagos. Jiho exhales sharply. A sound between pain and dread. She's going there for Dami, he says. Or for something worse. Back at the foundation, the first blow arrives quietly. Their official website crashes. Emails bounce back. Donor files corrupt. Financial reports scramble themselves into gibberish. The staff panics. Is it a hack? Is it a system failure? Are we under investigation? Dami steps forward. She doesn't raise her voice. She doesn't panic. It's an attack, she says simply. And we handle it together. Minjun is already working on the servers. This isn't amateur work. This is coordinated. Another hit arrives 10 minutes later. Sponsors call. Journalists email. Rumors spread like wildfire. Fraud. Mismanagement. Fake programs. Misused donor funds. Fabricated documents appear online. Professionally crafted. Designed to be undeniable. Printed with signatures she never signed. Stained with lies meant to stain her. Her phone vibrates. Unknown number. A single sentence. You built something beautiful. Now watch me dismantle it. Then a second message. A location. A time. Tonight. Victoria Island. The rooftop of the hotel where her first major donor meeting took place. Come alone. Or everything burns. Minjun snatches the phone. This is a trap. I know, she says. Then we don't go. No, she replies. We go. But we go prepared. Her voice is calm, cold, focused. A version of Dami her enemies never expected. A version her mother always believed she could become. Night in Lagos glitters like a jeweled crown. The rooftop is quiet. Wind moving through palm trees. City lights stretching toward the horizon. Madame Mincio stands near the edge. White suit. Flawless hair. A woman sculpted out of control and elegance. She turns as Dami approaches. You came, she says softly. You threatened everything I built. Of course I came. Madame Mincio smiles. A slow, practiced smile. You think this is about the company? About inheritance? No, Dami. This is about narrative. About image. About a life I built with my bare hands. You framed me, Dami says. You tried to erase me. I neutralized you, Mincio corrects. There is a difference. She steps closer. You arrived and everything changed. My husband questioned me. My children questioned me. You fractured the story I spent 30 years perfecting. Her voice sharpens. And now I will restore it. She pulls out her phone. One touch, and the world receives every document I've prepared. Your father's health records. Fabricated transfers. Emails you never wrote, but will look real enough to ruin you. Dami does not flinch. You think you're holding the final card, she says quietly. But you're not. She presses a button on her own phone. A recording plays. The entire conversation they just had. Every lie. Every threat. Every confession. Madame Mincio's composure shatters. What have you done? She snaps. Protected myself, Dami says simply. And protected the family you pretended to care for. Steps echo behind them. Lagos police. An Interpol officer. Local security forces. They circle Madame Mincio. Ma'am, the Interpol agent says, you are under arrest for conspiracy, fraud, extortion, and international cyber interference. Mincio fights to keep her face poised. This isn't over, she hisses. Yes, Dami replies softly. It is. They lead her away. For the first time, silence settles on the rooftop. Peaceful, still, clean. Dami breathes deeply. Steadily. Not victorious. But free. For the first time. The rooftop empties slowly, like a storm draining from the sky. The last thing Dami hears is the slam of the police car door as Madame Mincio is driven away into the Lagos night. The city below keeps breathing, oblivious to the war that almost swallowed it whole. Dami stands alone for a moment. Not triumphant. Not broken. Just still. The kind of stillness that comes after surviving a hit you never saw coming. Minjun steps beside her. Quiet. Steady. You're shaking, he murmurs. She exhales slowly. Only on the inside. For the first time since arriving in Seoul months ago, she lets herself feel the weight. The fear. The pressure of being hunted. The burden of being found. But the feeling doesn't crush her. It releases her. News spreads quickly across the city. Rumors of a high-profile arrest. Hints of corruption. Whispers about a foreign executive who underestimated the wrong woman. The foundation staff gathers early the next morning. Nervous. But loyal. Their website is restored. Their donor accounts reappear. Their financial records return to normal. One of the women hugs her. You fought for us, she says quietly. So now we fight for you. In that moment, Dami understands something she never did in Seoul. Belonging isn't given. Belonging is built. Brick by brick. Choice by choice. Witness by witness. While Lagos steadies itself, Seoul trembles. Kim Corporation is in crisis. News outlets explode with headlines about Mincio's arrest. Shareholders demand answers. The board calls emergency meetings. Inside the private hospital wing, Jiho reads every headline. His hands shake slightly. His jaw tightens. But when the nurse tells him Dami is safe, his eyes soften. She saved herself, he whispers. Just like her mother. Even Sujin feels the shift. She watches her mother's downfall on the news. Not with satisfaction, but with the quiet grief of someone forced to face a truth they never wanted to see. Her mother wasn't protecting the family. She was protecting control. Sujin closes the laptop, wipes her eyes, and whispers, Dami, I'm sorry for letting it get this far. That evening, Dami sits in her Lagos office with the window open. Warm air drifts in. City noise hums softly below. Her phone rings. Her father. His voice is tired but steady. I need you to come back to Seoul, he says. There will be an inquiry. I want you beside me. Dami's heart tightens. I can come, she replies. But the foundation. Your work won't suffer, he interrupts gently. And neither will you. I won't let that happen again. There is a pause. The kind that carries years of unspoken things. Dami, he says quietly, you saved my life. Not just my company. Her eyes sting. I only did what I had to. No, he whispers, you did what was right. She hangs up the phone and stands at the window. Seoul had swallowed her, broken her, tried to erase her. But Lagos rebuilt her, held her, gave her back her voice. Now she feels something she hasn't felt in months. Not fear. Power. A quiet, grounded power that sits deep in her bones. The kind that doesn't need to shout. The kind that doesn't need permission. She survived the shadows. She faced the woman who tried to erase her. She has allies she never expected. Minjun, Sujin, her father, and an entire network of women who believe in her. But one piece is missing. One piece still loose in the dark. Young Min. Unpredictable. Humiliated. Dangerous. Arresting Min Seo was a victory. But not the war. Not yet. Dami locks up her office and steps into the warm Lagos air. Her guards wait nearby. Cars hum at the roadside. The city glows like a living creature. Then her phone vibrates. A single text. No name attached. Just a sentence that freezes the air around her. You took one, queen. But the king still moves. She reads it twice. Then once more. Young Min is not gone. He is not finished. He has shifted from chaos to strategy. From shouting to silence. He has become something worse than angry. He has become patient. Dami looks up at the Lagos skyline. Steady, warm, alive. She refuses to flinch. She refuses to run. Not here. Not anymore. She whispers into the night. Then move. I'm ready. Night settles over Lagos like a velvet curtain. Warm winds drift through the streets. Cars hum. Vendors close their stalls. The city exhales after a long day. But inside the Kim Foundation office, Dami can feel it. A shift in the air. A silence that isn't peace. A quiet that isn't safety. It feels like the breath before a storm. She stands by the window, watching headlights streak down the main road when her phone vibrates. Unknown number. One message. You took one, queen. But the king still moves. Her chest tightens, but not with fear. With recognition. Young Min. Even after his mother's arrest. Even after losing everything. He has not disappeared. He has repositioned. And predators are most dangerous when wounded. The door opens behind her. Two guards step in. Ma'am, there's someone downstairs asking for you. Dami frowns. Who? They hesitate. She didn't give a name. Dami's heartbeat shifts. The foundation is empty at this hour. Visitors don't just appear after dark. She descends the stairs slowly. At the bottom stands Sujin. No makeup. Rain-damp hair. Eyes red from crying or from running. Or both. You came, Dami says quietly. Sujin nods, breath uneven. He's not alone, she whispers. My mother planned everything, but she wasn't the only one preparing. Young Min had someone else helping him. Someone he trusted more than any of us. Dami steps closer. Who? Sujin swallows, voice trembling. You won't believe me unless I show you. She hands over a small flash drive. Encrypted files. Emails. Maps. Financial movements. All pointing to one horrifying truth. Young Min had been preparing for Lagos months before he lost the boardroom vote. This wasn't revenge. It was continuation. He wants to destroy your foundation, Sujin says. And not with rumors this time. With something bigger. Before Dami can respond, a loud crash echoes outside. The guards rush toward the window. A motorcycle lies on its side. Smoke curling from the engine. Tire marks carving the pavement. No rider. Sujin's eyes widen. He's here. The guards fan out. Lights sweep the compound. Nothing. Just the hum of generators and the night breeze scraping against the gate. Dami walks outside, pulse steady, step slow. She remembers Seoul. She remembers the marble steps, the cameras, the shame, the fall. And she remembers who planned it. She raises her chin. Show yourself. For a moment, nothing responds. Then a voice drifts from the shadows. Still brave, he murmurs. Or still foolish. I'm not sure which. Young Min steps forward. No suit. No perfect hair. Just a man stripped of everything except obsession. Even Sujin flinches. He smiles faintly at her. You always were soft, sister. Even softer now. She steps behind Dami instinctively. Young Min's attention returns to the woman he once tried to erase. You walked into my family and tore it in half, he says quietly. You ruined our legacy. Our image. Our name. You did that, Dami replies. You exposed my mother. She exposed herself. Young Min takes one step closer. The guards raise their weapons. He doesn't flinch. Do you know what power is, Dami? He asks softly. It's not money. Not legacy. Not bloodline. He taps his temple. Power is narrative. He gestures around him. Right now, half of Korea sees you as a victim. The other half sees you as a fraud who escaped punishment through tears and politics. Dami's joy tightens. And what do you see? He tilts his head, studying her like a puzzle he can't solve. I see the one person who should never have existed. Sujin gasps. The guards stiffen. But Dami does not break. If that's what you came here to tell me, she says, you wasted your time. He steps closer. This isn't about words. He reaches into his pocket. And every guard readies to shoot. Young Min raises both hands slowly. Relax. It's just a phone. He tosses it at her feet. The screen glows. A video begins to play. Buildings. Blueprints. Highlight marks. Security routes. Access points. The foundation building. Planned to the smallest detail. He whispers. You thought your little movement scared me. But movements crumble when the head is cut off. The realization hits. This isn't a warning. It's a threat already in motion. You planned an attack, Dami whispers. I planned a correction, he replies. One guard steps forward. Young Min Kim, you need to. Young Min lifts a hand. A small device glints between his fingers. The guard stops instantly. Dami recognizes it. A dead man's switch. If he's tackled, or shot, or restrained, the signal goes out. And whatever he planned, happens. He smiles at her. You exposed me in Seoul. You humiliated me in front of the board. You took my inheritance. My mother. My life. His eyes narrow. So I came to take yours. Silence falls like a blade. Then, a single voice cuts through it. You'll fail. Sujin steps forward. Her legs tremble, but her eyes burn. You don't own the narrative anymore. Not here. Not in Lagos. Not anywhere. Young Min laughs softly. Is that so? Yes, she whispers. Because this time, I'm standing with her. Young Min studies his sister. Something in his expression flickers. Hurt. Shock. Resentment. All tangled together. Then his face hardens. So be it. He clicks the device. Every guard lunges at once. But nothing explodes. No alarms. No breach. No attack. Just silence. Young Min looks at the switch and smiles slowly. Relax. It was never armed. I wanted to see who would move first. He steps back toward the shadows. Next time, it won't be a test. He disappears into the darkness. Like a phantom slipping through a crack. The guards chase him. But Lagos is a maze of alleys, rooftops, and endless routes. He vanishes. Again. Dami stands frozen, breath uneven. But not afraid. Sujin stands beside her. Minjun arrives moments later, rushing across the courtyard. What happened? Dami lifts the switch. He's still playing, she says quietly. But the game has changed. Minjun's joy tightens. Then so will we. Dami looks at the foundation behind her. The symbol of everything she has fought for. Everything she built. Everything she refuses to lose. And with a steady inhale, she whispers, "This is where I make my stand." The city settles into silence. The danger fades into the shadows. And Dami stands alone in the courtyard of the foundation she built with her own hands. But her heart is not calm, because some battles end with a victory, and some battles end with a question that lingers long after the screen goes dark, a question that forces every viewer to look inward, a question that Dami can't escape, and neither can we. What do you owe to the people who tried to destroy you? Forgiveness? Distance? Justice? Or nothing at all? The story doesn't answer. Because the answer is yours. And one more question hangs in the air. If someone is born into power but chooses cruelty, and another is born into struggle but chooses integrity, which one truly deserves the legacy? There's only one correct side here. If you're standing with young men, with entitlement, with manipulation, with destruction, then maybe you need to rewatch the story again. But if you stand with Dami, with resilience, with courage, with building instead of breaking, then you already know the truth. And you know what comes next. Because people who support Dami don't just watch stories. They make movements. So here's your call. Subscribe, unless you're one of the people who still thinks Young Min was just misunderstood. And trust me, you don't want to be in that group. Every person who hits the subscribe button sends a message. We choose strength over sabotage. We choose healing over hatred. We choose Dami. Before you go, drop a comment below. Where are you watching from? Lagos? London? Atlanta? Seoul? Nairobi? Whose side are you on, Dami or Young Min? And be honest, we're judging you quietly. Because the war isn't over. The empire isn't finished. The question now is, when the next storm comes, which side will you be on?